Win 4, lose 1. Win 3, lose 1. The Twins are extremely lucky with the position they're in right now because of how average the Indians have been. 5.5 out of the Central. That's it. 5.5. But 11.5 from the wild card. So that's out. The wild card is out. You're not making the wild card like you did last year. Too many good teams. But the Central, the division, you got a chance. Twins are 11-17 on the road. How about you win 6 in a row here to get to 17-17? You look at the records from the last couple of years. Twins are 28-34 right now. Last year through 62 games, they were 33-29. 4 games over. The year before that disaster. Oh, disaster. What a disappointment that season was. 19-43 through 62 games 2 years ago. So, Twins aren't as good as last year, but they weren't even close as bad as 2 years ago. They've got a chance here. Take it game by game, but eventually the Twins, they got to get something going. Because the Indians kind of got hot at the end of the season last year, or the second half of the season, and if the Twins continue to play mediocre, I mean, let's be honest here. They have blown a pretty big opportunity because the Indians have really been average. And in the beginning of the year, I have it on my SoundCloud that I did for my show at school. I had the Twins winning this division. I thought the Indians would struggle like this, but I didn't think the Twins would struggle like they are now. And I can't even say like they've struggled, but there's been times where I'm like, okay, man, this team's going to be okay. And then there's times where I'm like, man, the pitching has been really good the last few weeks. The starting pitching. And the bats haven't come alive. I want to see a healthy Twins team. Everyone healthy. Because the worst thing, and this is the worst thing about sports. At the end of the year, if you don't have a healthy team and you sit and your team's out of the playoffs, the worst feeling is thinking, what if? Man, what if the Twins had Santana play? What if the Twins had Buxton hit the ball? What if the bullpen was a little better? What if Fernando Rodney didn't blow that save? 5.5 out. Don't jump the ship yet. We're in June. Coming up next here, love it or leave it. All right, we're back here, Strom Sports Show on the talknorth.com podcast network. You can listen to our shows at talknorth.com or follow our Twitter at talknorthpod. So I got some love it or leave it's for you today. And like I said, I want you, the fans, to be a part of the show. You can tweet me any topic, any question at SSTROM32. Hit me up on Twitter. I really want you guys to be a part of this show. I'm trying to open up a phone line in my radio station in New Jersey. I'd love for you guys to call in, be a part of the show, get to know you guys. All right, so love it or leave it here. I give you some topics. I'll tell you if I love it or leave it. Let's start with number 1. So the Minnesota Gopher basketball team will visit Boston College in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Love it or leave it. So I'm going to leave this one just because, listen, you think about what happened a year ago with the Gopher men's basketball team. This was the team that was looking up. You made it to the NCAA tournament. You kind of dipped your foot in the water. This was supposed to be the year where the basketball team was supposed to make a deep run in the tournament, and they took a ginormous step back with all the drama, the Reggie Lynch drama, the injury with Eric Curry. Mason was battling through injuries. I'm going to leave this one because, as a fan, the Gophers started off, they were top 10 in the country. I mean, this was a team that if they continued on, they would be playing a Duke, a North Carolina, a Syracuse in these Big Ten ACC challenges. Instead, the Gophers are going to get a Tuesday night game at 7 o'clock, and they're not going to have, the Dick Vitale. I want to play on a Thursday night, 9 o'clock, Big Ten ACC challenge at Cameron Indoor. Amir Coffey, Eric Curry, McBrayer, Washington going to Duke, play Coach K, Patino versus Coach K. I mean, that's what you look for as a fan, and I hope that's what you look for as a team. So I'm going to leave this one because I expected more of the Gophers, and I still believe that this team is going to have a huge bounce back year. You got Amir Coffey coming back. You got Eric Curry coming back from his injury. That was a big blow before the season. And you got Dupree McBrayer, senior year, trying to prove something. You got Isaiah Washington coming back. You got some recruits coming in. I wouldn't sleep on the Gopher Hoops team because this has kind of been the trend with Pitino. It's like one really bad year and then a tournament year. Well, now you have your bad year. Hopefully this is a tournament year. Let's move on here. Let's go into the hockey here. So Wednesday, Wild GM Paul Fenton replaced Bruce Boudreau's best friend, assistant coach John Anderson, with Dean Evanson, a former teammate of Fenton who coached the Nashville Predators AHL affiliate, the Milwaukee Admirals. Love it or leave it. So according to the one and only Mike Russo, also shout out Mike Russo, happy birthday. It's June 12th. Like I said, this is going to come out on a Thursday, so it's going to be like a belated birthday, but happy birthday. According to his article, Fenton and Evson talked 3 to 5 times a day in Nashville. He's a player's coach. He's got tons of experience. And the thing I love about this the most is that Dean, I'm going to call him Dean because I can't say his last name, Dean worked with Boudreau before. So I'm going to love this one. I know John Anderson did a really good job with the power play this year, over 20% the last 2 years, which was, I think, a first in Wild history or something like that I read. But I love this because you need to be on the same page. If you are looking to win a championship, if you're looking, this is a team, the Wild are in a weird spot. They're good, but they're not good enough. So get everyone on the same page. You got Fenton, you got Dean, you got Boudreau. They're all on the same page now. They've worked together before, bits and pieces of them. So I love this one. I think this is a good move for Fenton, and this is a good start. I expect a lot more, though, in the next coming weeks here, leading up to the draft. Next one here, love it or leave it, trading Charlie Coyle. All right, so quick little background on Charlie Coyle. I've always been a huge doubter of Charlie Coyle. Starts with the Brett Burns trade. I was devastated when it happened. I thought it was a huge mistake at the time. Charlie Coyle just hasn't panned out. He had a nagging wrist injury that contributed to a disappointing 37-point output this season. He's 26 years old, 6'3", 221. I've always said he has the size and speed. I just don't know how he just doesn't really have a good feel for the game that I see. He really works hard, so I can't sit here and grill him that bad. But I think it's time for, with the Wild under new management looking to shake things up. I mean, Coyle's future in Minnesota is very uncertain. And, like I said, 6'3", 221 frame and versatility, this could perhaps fetch the best return. You look at a guy that really could be a 30-goal scorer and has not ever eclipsed that. Coyle, it's such a mystery with him because he skates so well. He can really, he can play big. He can really bang with the big boys. He's a pretty fast skater. But just shooting-wise, I remember there's just been a lot of instances where Mike Yeo, Bruce Boudreau, John Torchetti, they always kind of said, Charlie, you got to shoot, confidence. I think that's something that he lacks. But if this is the best that they can get back, I would go out and trade Charlie Coyle in a heartbeat. Try to get a bigger defenseman, a right-handed defenseman, a guy that can actually put up some numbers with Dumba and Sutz behind the line. I love this. I think that they should trade him because you're going to expect some changes here. You're going to have Niederreiter, you're going to have Brodin, you're going to have guys like Dumba. They're all going to be kind of flustered around what's going on with them. Are you going to re-sign Zucker and Dumba? Are you going to trade Brodin and Coyle or Niederreiter? So I'm expecting some big things. All right, let's go to the NFL here. Love it or leave it. Viking fans cheering for Case Keenum in Denver. Listen, there's certain players in sports who fans get emotionally attached to. He's one of them for me. I mean, he's the underdog. He's got the underdog story. He loved being in Minnesota, 13-3. He's just one of those guys that I was emotionally attached to as a fan. I really hated to see Keenum leave. I thought that the Vikings never really gave him the respect he deserved. I remember, press conference to press conference, they'd ask, Zimmer, hey, is Case your starter? And it'd be like week 13, and he's totally proved himself. And Zimmer said, well, we don't know. We'll decide this week. It was just like, man, I don't know if Zim was just messing with him or maybe just not the respect, but I will cheer for Case Keenum. As long as we don't see him in the postseason, because I know we don't see him in the regular season, I will cheer for Case Keenum. I wish him the best. Actually, he just came out with a new book that he wrote. I guess it's on his journey with the NFL, and he talks about being in Minnesota and Houston and all this kind of stuff and how he's had to persevere. So definitely got to check out that book that Keenum wrote. But yeah, seriously, I love this. I will cheer for Case Keenum. Great dude. Great quarterback for the Vikings. Never got the respect that he deserved. Let's go to the MLB here. Love it or leave it, Paul Molitor being fired if the Twins don't make the playoffs. See, like, this is tricky. I'm going to leave this, but after this year, there's no excuse for the Twins. I mean, this is supposed to be a team that was supposed, like, how many draft picks do you get? How many 5-tool players can you get? And how there's never been like this breakout season. Like, yeah, they made the playoffs last year, but they lost in the first round to the Yankees in one game. Shocker. 17-54 since 2009, whatever. I have that record because I live out here, and I mean, I just get crap every single time they play the Yankees. So that's just it's like PTSD for me. I know that Thad Levine is trying to take the analytical kind of side to managing, and Paul Molitor's not that. I mean, he's an old school guy. He's not going to buy into all these numbers, all this Moneyball, Oakland A stuff. So I'm going to leave this. First of all, I like Molitor. I never felt like he's gotten a legit chance this year with all the injuries and stuff like that. So I'll give him a pass this year if they don't make the playoffs, but the year after, I mean, it's time to move on if he doesn't get to the postseason. Love it or leave it, Twins re-signing Brian Dozier. All right, he's one of these guys, another one who just doesn't get enough credit. I mean, never complains. His teammates love him. Last 3 years, he's hit, 28, 42, and 34 home runs, I'm pretty sure. This tells me the Twins are expecting, Nick Gordon, the 22-year-old second baseman who the Twins drafted in 2014. I think he was number 5 overall. Is that the message you're going to... Maybe that's the way they're doing it. Because the article that I read that Jim Suhan wrote in the beginning of spring training is that the Twins really have no interest. I mean, they never reached out to him about an extension. Dozier's 31. He's in the prime of his career. He wants a big contract. But is Nick Gordon ready? I was looking at some of his stats. He batted .333 last year in AA, and now is batting .300 in AAA. Very young. Me and Jim talked about it a couple days before. He thinks that they should extend him another year. They can match his offer. I agree. I think you should stick him around. But after that, he'll be 33 years old. Maybe it's time to move on. Nick Gordon will be 24, 23 years old. And I think you build for the future at that point. All right. Quick break here. Come back with your Twitter questions. Like I said, you tweet me at SSTROM32. Be a part of the show. Ask me questions. All right, last couple minutes here of the Strom Sports Show. Like I said before, tweet me questions every show. I put out a tweet today, recording an episode at 1 o'clock Central Time, taking Twitter questions at the end of the show. Tweet me anything Minnesota related, and I'll be happy to answer it at SSTROM32. So first one here from Jay Dueling 31. What changes do you think need to be made by the Wild this offseason to get out of its first round exit pattern? Well, first of all, thanks for the question. And also, this is a team that's good, but just not good enough. And when I say that, I mean, this is a team that just seems like they're not big enough when it comes to playing with the big boys. You look at Winnipeg, they just looked like the smaller team. Winnipeg was throwing its body around, checking the Wild. You saw Bufflin take care of Eriksson Ek and hitting Stahl and hitting all these guys. And when your star players are Jason Zucker and Mikael Granlund, who I love, and those are your star players, and that's who you rely on when it comes to goal scoring, just not going to work. It's just not going to work. You look at the playoffs, you look at the guys that are scoring, they're big boys. They're getting the greasy goals, they're around the net, they're banging with the big boys. Granlund and Zucker, they're just not those guys. And what do you expect Eric Stahl to have the same year he had last year? There's no way he puts up those numbers this year. I love him. I love Eric Stahl. But let's be honest, he really overachieved this year. So if I'm Fenton, I'm going out, I'm trading a Coyle, I'm trading a Niederreiter, I'm trading a Brodin. I'm trying to get value, and I'm trying to get bigger pieces, bigger goal scorers into this system because it just hasn't been good enough as of the playoffs with the Wild. They've had